What's up, everybody? I'm Greg Miller. Brad Muir is here to tell me all about Double Fine's massive Chalice. But first, could Star Trek be more like Guardians of the Galaxy? Is Amanda Waller finally cast? This is Up at Noon. It's the news you care about with your normal panel of experts. My Italian meatball, Brian Altano.
Hey, normal.
Yeah, what? You don't like that?
No,
it's the usual panel of experts.
Okay,
the usual suspects.
The excellent panel of experts.
The kick-ass, amazing, rock star, rock hard panel of
Yeah,
geniuses.
the rock hard panel.
So rock hard.
Flip the table over with our...
Tear our shirts off. Abs everywhere.
Your hands? We don't need to use your hands.
No, just...
Gross.
Like the whole...
Over there, the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Top of the morning to you all.
Top story in the news you care about. It's a follow-up to one of the news you care about from last week. They apparently have cast Amanda Waller in the Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, Oprah.
No, it is not Oprah. After getting all of our hopes up that it would be Oprah, it's still not Oprah Winfrey
When she's in movies, she's Oprah Winfrey.
Is that true?
I don't know.
Oh, really?
No.
It is instead Viola Davis. You may know her. What?
Yes.
Okay, you may know her from How to Get Away with Murder.
I actually do know her from How to Get Away with
You're the only person on this panel who's watched that show. Is it good?
I watched the first episode. My wife was really into that because she also likes Scandal. I believe it's the same creator.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't particularly care for it. It's not my cup of tea.
Sorry,
But
Viola.
I love
You had
Viola
your
Davis,
chance.
and I think she'll do a great job.
She's an Oscar nominee. She's been in The Help, Doubt, and Ender's Game. But this is from Latino Review, of course.
I always love that. And they're like, now we're putting you in a costume.
Well, she won't be in a costume. She just orders
really?
people around. Amanda Waller just sits behind computer
just- yeah,
monitors
she's
and orders
just a
people to do
government
things.
worker,
That's still a costume.
Why do they even bother telling us about Oprah? They got everybody excited about Oprah. Did they ever really consider Oprah? Was Oprah just for headlines?
Are we thinking that they did that, or is that just another thing that just got caught up in the internet?
Yeah, did we do that?
I think we did. I think we helped.
Is that something
perpetuate
we
that.
did?
In fact, if we go back and look at your cute little notes that you have there, the printouts that have maps on the back of them, because
Yeah.
we're too cheap to actually not reuse paper.
Yeah. This is Marty's hotel confirmation from something.
I'm
I don't
pretty
know
sure
where he's going.
that,
CES.
that first story that said Oprah was in it.
Yeah.
Oprah was written in crayon.
No,
Next
come
to
on.
it.
Now,
I
they
don't think
said
they
she
copy
was
and pasted
she was
that
a
or anything.
pick. She was there. Maybe this is another thing too. We've all watched the TV shows, the Louis C.K.'s and stuff.
Yeah.
Where they announce publicly that they're looking at somebody just to put pressure on somebody else.
They do.
Maybe they weren't really looking at Oprah. They said Oprah to get Viola to come down on her demands.
You know who I wanted for this role is, do you guys know CCH Pounder?
Yes.
Yes.
This is the one Nick was very.
Oh,
much
so you know
behind.
about this, right?
Yes.
From
Oh,
The
yeah.
Shield.
Yeah.
Well, she does the voice of
awesome.
Amanda Waller in like all the cartoons.
Yeah, I think she popped on Sons of Anarchy for a little
Yeah.
while. Oh, she did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think she's just like one of the most badass black ladies to ever be on film.
You don't mess with
period.
her. You don't mess with
She's
CCH Pounder.
fantastic. I mean, The
Anyone-
Shield messed with her for like 6 seasons, but we know
She'll
how
mess
that
with
ended.
everyone for 6 seasons.
That was his
though.
job.
Pretty sure Chickless it can't do anything ever again because of that show. Probably.
That's what I thought after the commission. Then he bounced back.
Yep. He had hair in the commish. Came back bald
Well,
and sleek.
he had a little bit of hair on
Bald
the
and
commission.
sleek.
Let's not act like he had a.
He's in the series finale of Sons of Anarchy, and it's quite amazing.
Really?
I think,
I haven't watched it yet.
We should talk about that later.
Okay.
Did you guys see Prisoners?
No.
This was the Hugh Jackman film with Jake Gyllenhaal. She was in that.
Oh yeah.
She's fantastic.
She was in
She's
Avatar, right?
Was she in Avatar?
Yeah.
Real quick, you're all using pronouns. Viola or CCH Pounder?
Viola Davis.
Okay,
Excuse
thank
me.
you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Viola Davis. I mean, she's a phenomenal actress, right? If you see her in The Help, she's amazing. She'll do a great job.
Yeah.
Hands down, she'll be a great Amanda Waller.
All right. Speaking of things on TV screens and movie screens and things I enjoy, because we talked about everything there. The Walking Dead spinoff is now going to be set in L.A.
This is crazy.
All right, is it crazy?
It's a little crazy. Now, I should preface, I'm only halfway through the 3rd season.
Of The Walking Dead, okay.
No, I'm sorry, I just started the 4th season of Walking Dead.
Okay.
So I'm really enjoying that show, and I'm wanting more, but I don't know if I'm going to want more after, because every single person I talk to now that's current, up to date, is like, well...
Those people are...
Don't
Don't worry. I love The Walking Dead. You know that I love The Walking Dead. I'm excited about another Walking Dead show. Not only the fact that it's in a different spot. I liked it.
Yeah.
Get me away from the group. Let's go and explore things similar to what Telltale's done.
Yeah.
You get your own group of characters. Go do your thing. But what I really like is that there's rumors that it's being shot in early 2015. The rumors are it might be a pseudo prequel set during the early days of the zombie outbreak and showing the initial attempts to stop it from spreading. That sounds awesome.
I like that a lot. So there's a lot to unpack here. I think that, first of all, it's really interesting to set it in a major city. Because I feel like the TV show currently started around that in Atlanta.
Yeah.
But then they quickly realized, like, let's get the hell out of a major
this is
city.
really expensive.
It's really expensive. It kind of sucks.
We gotta go to a farm.
Like
That's easy.
visually, it's amazing. Like I love all those shots where like you pan out and there's holes in buildings, smoke coming out, and there's the full highways of overturned cars and horse corpses and all this crazy stuff like that. But the logic here is to get away from a major city because there's more things that can kill you. You get to the woods.
There's nooks and crannies everywhere. They can just come
number two, a prequel's kind of interesting because does that mean all the corpses are going to be fresher?
It should be. That's what it should mean.
Because we've seen some zombies on the Walking Dead TV show that are just like, it's just like a head and an arm stuck underneath a train track and it's just like, rah, and it's like, wow, that's been there for a long time.
Right.
So I do kind of like the idea of going back to right after things first happened. We didn't really get a lot of that on the TV show.
That's the thing.
We didn't get any of it,
when you look at the TV show.
Well, we got like Carl waking up in or
the car.
Yeah,
on the road.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but that's exactly the
that
point.
was like a flashback.
Comics, the show and even The Walking Dead never deal with like it's happening right now. What is it like? If they're doing it in LA and they're going to do a whole season, you imagine it starts with just the first few. What's happening? Where like how it started in LA with the first few people getting back up from the dead.
Yeah, because I actually really liked the way the game handled it, where it was sort of just like there's like a walker for the first time.
Yep.
You know,
you
it's
hit the
just
car.
like there's little it sort of trickles out, and they're like, oh wait a minute, there's something you know, a little odd is happening.
Sure, you hear the cars are racing past you the other direction. He turns off the radio so you don't hear the.
Because I think that's fascinating. Like with the Walking Dead we have now, we get to see the show after like it's just set in, and people are just so. They're like so morose and they're so lost to everything. But I like the idea of like shit's broken. Let's see how everybody reacts. Like immediately, like day one. Like how does the infrastructure of society crumble?
That's always my favorite part of zombie movies when it first starts, and that's why I love the Dawn of the Dead remake so much. Yeah, we got to see it like with that whole montage in the opening of like news reports going.
That opening was so good too, where she's like she has to crawl through the window, and then she gets in the car, and the guy's like, running after her, and then sees someone else and takes him out, and she's just like crying. And
I love that sort of like day zero stuff, and also they're going to save a lot of money on makeup if they're going to make the zombies look fresh and young and
fresh and young, fresh and hot.
I will say this: I think one of the things that has kept me with the show now, because I've been marathoning it like crazy, is like when they introduce those new characters, they do such a good job of it. Right? When Michonne was introduced, who I think was one of the coolest characters up to this point. Please don't spoil anything for me.
Michonne, by the way.
Michonne, excuse me. Mm-hmm. This guy.
Johnny come lately to Walking Dead.
This guy thinks he's all cool, knows everything about it. She's awesome, right? And these characters are so well fleshed out. And you know, we had talked a while back, and I was like, oh god, Walking Dead, man, they're just gonna keep fighting zombies. And you're like, that's not what it's about. It's about the inner dynamics of the groups and seeing these people. And you were spot on. Yeah. So more of that. I don't see how that can be a bad thing.
Well, there's no defined end game for any of this stuff, right? Right. That's the thing. Like every now and then they're like, we got to get to the government building, or like this guy knows the cure, or blah blah blah, and it all turns out to be red herrings, basically. Yeah. So like once you settle in on that, then you go, okay, this is about people living and dying and interacting, and that's much better than just going, hey, there's a magical rainbow at the end. Although I wish there was.
I hope so.
Final story of the week: Paramount reportedly wants Star Trek 3 to feel more like Guardians of the Galaxy. Nick, you're already shaking your head.
It's not Guardians of the Galaxy.
Here's the thing, Star Trek. This is I will not lie. I don't keep abreast of the Star Trek news all that much. I knew JJ had gone off to do Star Wars. I didn't realize he had left Star Trek then.
Yeah.
So now this guy Roberto Orci was on it. He just left though too.
So Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman and JJ Abrams have been sort of like a power trio in Hollywood for a really long time. Orci has written everything that basically JJ Abrams has done, especially, or in this case, he wrote Star Trek 1 and Star Trek Into Darkness. And when J.J. Abrams famously sort of left to go over and helm and bring back Star Wars for all intents and purposes, they gave Orci the shot. Now, we don't really know why he's not a part of that anymore. Okay. Apparently it was some creative differences. Apparently it's what you're talking about where we don't know. Okay. But that it's heartbreaking because that series now is sort of like in flux and we don't know what's going to happen to it. They're like deep into the script's written. I believe they've already started some of the production. So I don't know what they're going to do with it. And it kind of, like, seeing it try to shift over to a Guardians of the Galaxy style of movie, I just don't think that's what Star Trek is.
What's disturbing about it is that this is all from Badass Digest, by the way. They say they want the third film to be huge, and they want it to be huge overseas especially. They look at Rocket and Groot, and then they look at Keener, the little alien sidekick character from Star Trek 1 and 2, and wonder why he doesn't have more of a role. That sounds awful. Are we thinking about the same guy who hung out with Simon Pegg and he had the eyes and stuff?
He's like, get down from there.
Yeah, that's him. No, don't do that.
No, that's not there.
I mean, that's what ruined 3 Star Wars movies, right?
Jar Jar.
Was basically going, let's turn this in, and arguably some would say the back half of Return of the Jedi. Although I think the Ewoks are a lovable, sadistic group.
You teeny.
I'll tell you what, they were lovable until you mess with them.
Yeah.
Then they start dropping tree trunks on your head.
Yeah, I
Like
mean
the
they're
fuckers.
really messed up. They're a messed up pack.
They know
Indigenous
what's
people.
up with guerrilla warfare.
Yeah.
But I think Star Trek is now having the problem where it always had, which is now they're heading into the 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th movie, and they're starting to lose people like me because they're getting too deep into the galaxy of that shit that I don't care about anymore. Now, seeing the Star Trek reboot was really cool, right? Like, I was like, I don't really have a lot invested in this. This is pretty awesome. But the more you drill deeper into that, like, the more you start getting into a lot of the stuff. I mean, that show was on for, 100 years? How many episodes of Star Trek have they made? How many different iterations
Oh, you're
of the
talking
TV
about,
show have they
I was
made?
like, the original Star Trek wasn't on for that long. But, Next Generation,
Right.
Deep Space Nine,
And they just kept piling
Voyager.
on.
I mean, you're talking, like, every one of those had at least 4 seasons.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So I mean, I've said this before on the show, but what made Guardians of the Galaxy was so great was we all went in basically empty-headed and said, "Oh, feed us this huge thing we don't have a lot of preconceived notions about." And Star Trek means so much to so many people, and Guardians of the Galaxy meant nothing to anybody.
I like the first Star Trek, so to suddenly swerve and be like, "Well, we need to have a Rocket and Groot." It's like, what are you talking about? No, you don't.
And I
Keep
think they
doing Kirk stuff.
I think they
Spock.
missed the point of that
And
too.
Sexy aliens.
I agree.
See, and that's spot on to me, right? Where there's, if you want, everyone said Guardians of the Galaxy is awesome because it's kind of like Star Wars, right? Where you're like, it's a cast, it's a space adventure, and all this stuff's happening. That's not Star Trek. Star Trek is generally a little bit more cerebral and a little bit more about the characters and less about the action and more about sort of the fun of the exploration of what's happening in the situations that you're in. There is action if you go back and watch Wrath of Khan and things like that, but to contrast what Star Wars does, which is like a rock'em sock'em sort of like,
Rock'em sock'em.
battles in space, you've got Wrath of Khan's sort of like submarine tactic warfare, right? Where it's slower and it's a lot more about the characters and the dynamic of the enemy versus the,
it's political.
Yeah, it's
really.
political. And you've got the differences between the Klingon Empire and the
Romulan.
No, actually, the Romulans too. But
Trying to throw you bones. Take it.
Like
the Federation is what I was going to say.
You're going to piss off a lot of people if one of the central characters of this next Star Trek movie is like a talking tree or something like that. I think that works in Guardians of the Galaxy because it's campy, right? You need that. That makes sense there.
It's time to introduce the triples. Now
They
they're coming out
but
and
they
do
were
stuff.
they already had them. I think they had them in the last one.
Well, now they're like going to overtake the ship and everybody dies.
My thing is this just a ploy to sell more toys?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that what this is?
Yes.
Like,
1000%, yes.
Like, did someone look at an analytics somewhere and they're like, dude, Groot toys, we can't keep those things on the shelf.
Yeah, the
Not just
dancing
because they're
Groot.
too big,
Yeah.
but because kids just want to, like, touch them.
Nice pun there, by the way.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Not because they're too big.
I mean, that pisses me off. I'm like, because that's not what Star Trek really is all about. It's a different beast. Let it be its own beast and let it find its audience.
I think for any movie like that, you have to design good characters first and then worry about the toys second. But that's just me. That's like the difference between making a lot of money in the front end and having a character that's really cool forever.
I feel like oftentimes, though, they just draw the pictures of the characters and show them to 2-year-olds. And if the 2-year-olds just sort of like Walking Dead style gravitate toward one over the other, that character makes
It wasn't 2-year-olds that made Groot crazy famous. It was people like us.
Yeah.
True.
People who would like sit in offices.
Vin
and
Diesel. Vin
yeah,
Diesel
and Vin
screwed it
Diesel.
up for everyone.
His best performance.
We are Groot.
He never said we. When did he say we are Groot?
He said, I'm spoiling the movie.
Did he at the
Yeah,
end?
third act when the ship's plummeting into the ground and he like goes. All right.
Enough. People haven't seen it.
I enjoyed the movie.
We are
I guess I vaguely remember that.
It was like-
it wasn't a touching moment for me.
It was
Sorry.
really touching. All the little fireflies are going around and he's like saving them.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Because he's nature and everyone is.
Sean's gasping from behind the camera that you were doing the film.
Because you're getting this all wrong.
Well, whatever. Maybe Paramount will be wrong. It's an interesting strategy. Speaking of strategies, Greg Way, my next guest is making a strategy game for the PC and the Xbox One, and he's here to tell me all about it. Ladies and gentlemen at home, start clapping right now to annoy your parents. This is Double Fine's Brad Muir. As I live and breathe, Brad Muir, how you doing, sir?
Hey,
Thank you
Greg
for
Miller.
coming. It's
Thanks
a pleasure.
for having-
You're back.
Thanks for having me back.
I didn't think you'd come back. You true story. You were
Really?
You were, yeah. Because remember, you were on the first Up at Noon where we did the panel for the news you care about, and you were also like,
Yeah.
the
Did that go over?
It went over well.
All right, good, because I don't know. We
But
talked about like Michael Bay and Star Wars, and I don't.
We just talked about Star Wars again. I think Star Wars is talked about on every one of these shows for some reason.
It seems pretty topical right now.
Right.
I don't know.
But
You
yeah,
talk
we-
about Star Wars now.
We did that. Then we did it with Damian Clark, who's the voice of Handsome Jack, and then we never had another guest on the panel again. So there you go.
I feel like I'm in good company.
Yeah.
I don't have like a sweet adjective in front of my name though.
Yeah, that's true.
That guy's handsome.
You aren't. Well, I've noticed too when you stand up for a sec. You're a team fat quitter. You used to be thick. You used to be a thick man like myself, and then you're just turning your back.
Also, I feel like this is largely overblown. Your team fat.
No, you see what I eat. I make chicken wings every week. I wear candy bras on the internet.
But you're a svelte man.
No, I got the love handles. I got everything. I got the boobies. I'm all set. What I need here.
I don't know.
Why did you decide to get your life in shape?
A wedding.
A wedding?
Yeah, I got
your
married.
Wedding? Oh,
my wedding. Yeah, well, that'd be interesting if it was somebody else's wedding.
Maybe maybe it's like that Garth Brooks song. You just showed up at somebody else's wedding. You're like, I'm gonna make her regret ever not marrying me.
That song. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, you do. I showed up and ruined
okay,
your
yeah,
black
it's ringing some bells now.
That's how it goes.
But I got married earlier this year, and I would.
We don't have an audience anymore, but they would clap if they were here.
Thanks.
There you go. There's
Studio
that.
audience.
Nick Scarpina.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was kind of priority.
That's awesome.
Also, it was just sort of like just kind of feeling bad.
Oh, right.
Heartburn is the worst.
Well, you just change what you eat.
Yeah, right. And then you
That's
just
what
eat,
you lose
and then
weight?
you you also eat less of it, and you choose some more exercise, and then you lose weight. It's really good.
So here's the thing:
recommend
you're
it.
working on this game, Massive Chalice.
Yes.
It's this strategy game. PC, Xbox One, early
Yep.
access right now. People can go play it on
Yeah,
Steam.
it is out there. It's been out for like a month-ish.
But it's
6
not.
weeks, something like
is
that.
it? It's not out. This is what confuses me about you PC
No,
gamer types.
this has been a really weird adventure for us because
Yeah.
like early access is just sort of like a weird thing that Valve has made on Steam.
Right.
And it's like you can basically buy the game now, any of these early access games, and then you play it, and it's mostly complete. I mean, they really have a wide range of like being barely functional and then like 98% complete. And with Massive Chalice, we are much more on the we're like 95% complete, I would say. Like you can play the full game. You're basically getting the full experience of the game and stuff. And we're mostly just doing it for like balancing feedback and really trying to tune it because it is. It's a very procedural game. It's a very like kind of long form game.
Yeah.
And it's just hard with us like as a small team to like really get it tuned up before we kick it out the door. And like Double Fine we're more used to making like more linear experiences like Broken Age or like Psychonauts. Just things that are more of like a linear experience. And this is like. Yeah, it's just much more procedural. There's a lot more that can go wrong, I think, in it from playthrough to playthrough. So yeah, we're just using it to like collect a bunch of feedback from the community, and we're adding a bunch of stuff to the game.
Now this is one of the Kickstarter games.
Yes, it's our second Kickstarter. Broken Age was that's Tim Schafer's adventure game.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, who is that guy?
I don't know.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first one, and then so this one was about like a year and a half ago. We kickstarted it, and yeah, it's like my strategy, tactical kind of thing. If you're into like Final Fantasy Tactics, and
A lot of people are.
XCOM, old XCOM and new XCOM. I like both XCOms.
Yeah.
I don't discriminate.
Oh, you're
I don't
getting away from
discriminate.
the shooter one.
I didn't play that one.
No one
Now
did. No one did.
Yeah, I love. Did you see that live action? Kind
Yeah,
of thing
Dominic
that they did?
Monaghan.
That's amazing.
He was on Up and New to promote it.
That was amazing.
he-
I kind of just want to watch that movie. I think.
Yeah, no, totally.
If they make that movie, but
So I was
but
bringing
yeah,
you
XCOMs.
into a long walk. It turned out that was a much longer walk. So I was saying you've lost a lot of weight and you suck, but
Yeah.
you were making this game.
I can
and
help
you're-
you. I can help you.
I don't want help.
All
I don't
right.
want it. I want to pack more on. That's what I want, sir. I don't want to be a quitter. I don't want that on my resume.
You could be so much bigger, though. Do you think about this?
Yeah, but then
All right.
even just talking burns calories. Anyways, you're making this
With your
game.
energy level, I don't know if you could be much bigger than you
You're
are.
making this game.
Yes.
Is that supposed to be a stressful time? Everybody's supposed to go to hell when they're in crunch mode and
It
doing
is.
stuff.
It
How are you
is,
doing
and
this?
that's it's really hard. I don't know. It's not. I don't recommend it. I do feel like crunch mode it gets sort of a weird rap. It is a really, really terrible thing, and nobody should do it. There are times during a project where it's like, okay, like the full, like as a game designer, like the full game is coming together. This is when like your hours are the most valuable. Your attention on the game is like the most valuable. Earlier in the project, it's sort of like we're making a lot of high-level creative decisions, and also I find that really exhausting. Early in the project,
creative
just because
decisions?
there's just like all these like crazy high-level things and whatever. I just feel like
Well, what's an example of a high level thing? Like what color?
high level thing, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's a good example. It's like, well, okay, the highest level thing I would say in Massive Chalice was one of the big decisions that I wanted to make was like I like high fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but so many things are derivative from Lord of the Rings and Dungeons and Dragons. It's like you can just sort of follow that all the way through. It's like orcs, elves, dragons, all that stuff, and it was just like. You can get that other places, you know.
Yeah.
Like we at Double Fine like really strive to like be more original than that and come up with our own stuff. And I knew that I wanted the hero side to be like humans, just so that you would relate to them a little bit more. There's also a lot of like sticky problems where like, well, what if you marry like an orc and an elf together? Even if we come up with fantasy races, right? Like, what if you marry these two fantasy races together? Like. It seems like they should have a kid that's like mixed race, and that's like okay, more art, and then it's and you get all these like weird things. Like
all of a sudden, you're doing gene splicing. You're trying to figure out how this works.
It's crazy. Well, that is a big part of the game actually is genetics. We can talk about that.
Let's do it. You're here. That was natural.
I'm jumping all over the place.
That's fine.
But that is a huge part of the game. Like when you're marrying the characters together. So I haven't even described the game. So the game is a tactical strategy game.
It was like you can hear the disappointment in his speech about himself.
I'm supposed to be here plugging the video game, and I'm just epically failing at that. So we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning.
As I live and breathe, Brad Muir.
Greg Miller,
tell me about your game. What's Master Chalice about? Get right to it.
It's great. So it's a tactical strategy game.
Yeah.
And it's all about this epic timeline. So you, as the player, you are taking on the role of this immortal ruler who's kind of ushering this kingdom through a war that's going to last about 300 years.
Okay.
So the tactical half of the game, you're going to be controlling these squads of like 5 heroes, and this is like at human scale, and you're directing them. So again, like we talked about. Wait, actually, we haven't talked about it yet.
We're
at the beginning. So things like XCOM, Final Fantasy Tactics, like Fire Emblem.
So it's turn-based.
Turn-based strategy that you're doing there. You're fighting these enemies and stuff. And then the other side of the game, the strategic side of the game, the real sort of twist of the game is that the battles are going to take place roughly 10 years apart. So, so in between these battles, all your characters age.
Okay.
So time will flow on the strategy layer. You're kind of looking at the map of the whole nation from the top-down view, and you just kind of like set up a bunch of decisions, and then you hit play, and time flies super, super quickly. And all of your heroes are going to age and die. They're all going to sort of like get old, and then so it's a very depressing game.
I was going to say dust to dust.
It's an interesting twist. Like the core sort of conceit of it. From playing those other games is that people get super attached to their characters in tactical games, which I really like. I do that too. But if you never, and those games usually have permadeath, but if you lose one of your favorite characters, a lot of times you'll just reload.
Yeah.
And so with Master Chalice, like I really wanted this. Those games are super, super interesting. If your favorite character gets killed because of a bad decision that you made, that sucks, but you try to like power through it, try to soldier on. So now you've got this like, say it was, you were playing XCOM and your favorite sniper, you like name him Greg Miller, and you're like, oh yeah, this is my favorite guy, and you're like moving him around, and you're like, great. And then if he gets murdered by an alien, you are super depressed, and then you have this Greg Miller sniper-shaped hole in your squad that you have to like, you have to get like another rookie and like get him to replace him. And it just makes you play the game in a different way. It just really like engages you a lot more than if you were to reload and be like, no, I can't live without Greg Miller. So this is so this is a way of like, if these characters are going to grow old and die, then it's like you don't have to worry about it so much.
You know that going in. You know that's part of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, so if they're, you're going to go through 4, 5, 6 generations in the game. So if you lose one of them on the battlefield, like, maybe like Greg Miller's brother. Can take over, and that's cool. Or your son. Okay. Your son can take over, or your daughter, and they can like fight with your weapon, and it like we have this whole lineage thing in the game, and it's really cool. It just makes you play like every battle. You're going into it with like a slightly different set of characters than you were in the battle before. And I think that he just gave me the rap.
No, you don't look at Nick. Only I look at Nick.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Just act like everyone else on the internet and ignore Nick Scarpino. That's all you have to do. It's just that's how you do it.
That's so rude.
I like it.
Yeah, it is kind of like a complicated game. So
it sounds awesome.
One of the biggest things that you're doing on the strategy layer is you're marrying these heroes together. You take 2 heroes that you like, you have to retire them from combat, so you have to choose to never use them in combat again. You marry them together, you put them in this keep, and then while the timeline's running, they're trying to have kids.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought so. I thought you were going to feel that.
No, they're trying to have kids. So there's a lot of like, sex that happens off screen. There's a lot of sex though.
On screen?
A lot. off screen.
Anything?
It's implied.
Is there just a little
sexual
shaken
content.
hut or anything?
We haven't. No, we don't. Yeah, we don't. There is a little baby icon that flies out of the castle when they have a baby.
That's good enough. Okay, it's like the Pope's white smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And then yeah, each character has like a genetic code that's kind of like under the hood.
Sure.
And that manifests itself in like different traits, like this character is like really fast and has a lot of hit points, or there are a lot of negative ones as well. Like this character has asthma.
So is this part of it that you have a character who is really fast and you have another character you know is really fast? You're like, well, I need to get these two together.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you know that if you put them together, their kids have a much higher chance of like being fast as well. So you're kind of like, we try to not talk about it in terms of like breeding or
It's
like
animal
eugenics,
husbandry,
because it gets really creepy. But you are trying to like keep good traits like going and try to weed out some of the bad ones. And that part of the game is a little touchy. I don't like talking about that on the internet.
I don't like to talk about
the gameplay is actually super interesting, but it does sort of like border on this like you're sort of like, oh, are you trying to create super soldiers or what are you trying to do here?
Yeah.
What are you saying about people who have asthma? I love people who have asthma. I love them. I think I might have asthma too.
No, you don't have asthma.
I'm not a runner.
Okay. So you and
Definitely
clearly
not a
you and
distance
I
runner.
would be on the reject
What-
pile.
yeah,
we would
we would-
not be.
I don't think our legacies would really like carry on. The cool thing though is that even if you take really good characters and you're marrying them together, the kids are like there's a chance of mutation. There's not a chance that like
X-Men
it's
stuff?
not
Like-
a character. No. I meant more in like the real world, like genetic mutation, where
okay.
like you put these two kids together, or you're like, yeah, we want them to. They're both fast and like they're awesome, like hardy stock, and then their kid is like just kind of stupid and slow. But then you're like invested, and you're like, I think it's just another thing. Like we talk about mixing up the group of characters that you're using throughout the game. It's just another way that we like try to mix it up and try to keep it fresh as you go through the game.
Sounds great, Brad. I
Sounded
can
like
see
a
why I
really
got so much
good
money on
way to-
Kickstarter.
I really appreciate everybody who backed the project because we were talking about early access running the gamut of like not done at all to like almost totally done.
Yeah.
Kickstarter does that too, where like some people have like they're like our game is in beta, we just need like money to finish it off, and then other people like Double Fine, we've gone with like just
There's a cocktail napkin.
it's like ideas and like and our hat, it's like please like help us out. So I feel like super indebted to everybody who like backed it, and because I mean this game, I don't think that it would exist if we had taken it around and pitched it to publishers and stuff. Like I think that there are aspects of it that make it, I don't know, like I'm not sure if people would have been like, yeah, like we just like Ubisoft is going to be like, yes, that's what we need. Is like a lot of aging and dying of characters in this video game.
We love games about building the master race. Yeah.
Oh, Greg Miller, you should say
What? I'm just saying. You're making a lot of good kids out there who they run fast and they do things.
you need fast children.
Yeah.
That's what it's
That's
about,
all
really.
about.
Yeah,
Alright.
just I don't know.
All right. It's out right now, early access. When's
It's
it
out
going
in
to be
early access.
completed? When will it be on Xbox One?
We're shooting for. So we're going to start that process like in January.
Okay.
We have like a major patch going to the game. We have another thing where there's 3 classes in the game right now, like character classes, and one of the reasons that's some people are like, there are only 3, like they're 4 at XCOM, they're like, they're all, but it's like, it's all part of my plan. It's all part of my plan right now.
Okay.
Is that when you marry 2 classes together, the kids will actually be like a hybrid class.
Oh, neat.
So we're putting that system in the game right now. And it kind of like, so we have 3 core classes, and there will be 6 hybrid classes that come out of that. So there'll be 9 total classes in the game. And they're like slight variations of like what's already there. That big patch is coming in January, and then the porting process starts. And we're probably looking at, I hate talking about dates.
I know.
Everybody loves dates. And you know who doesn't like dates?
Developers.
Game developers
Yeah.
don't love dates. It's the worst. But probably like May.
Okay.
I would say May, June timeframe. I think we'll have it like totally done. I really want to make sure that like the PC version is like where we want it. We're like, yep, like this is the video game we're made.
it
Awesome,
out the
super
door.
balanced, like looking good. And then only like minor things will be added to that as we do like the big porting to the Xbox, get the controller support in there and make that feel really good. So I would say June. Say June.
For Xbox.
For the Xbox, yeah.
Okay.
Xbox One, and then hopefully after that, sometime in the future, Microsoft is helping us get to the Xbox One.
Sure.
So it's going to be there first. I apologize to PlayStation Nation. I love them too.
It's okay.
I love them too. And so hopefully we'll get it to the PlayStation. And you know where I think it would be awesome? On the Vita. I almost cursed right there. On the Vita.
You're allowed to curse. And I'll say that right now.
I almost said the Vita. The Vita. Because like,
Don't
I really want to play it on a
don't
handheld.
say you can't back up. Is it really?
No, I mean, I don't know.
It'd be really awesome,
No,
but then
I
you're
mean,
like, it's not powerful.
No.
enough.
I'm saying it would be really awesome, as in, like, we're probably never ever gonna do that, but I think it would be really awesome.
God damn it, Brad.
But now if we do, you'll be so excited and surprised. You'll be like, oh,
I guess
awesome.
so, yeah.
But I think I really like playing turn-based games, like, on a handheld.
Sure.
I think
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
like, a really awesome place. Or a tablet. I really.
Nope, just you said Vita. Stick with that. You're not gonna want any friends in this office saying tablets other than Justin Davis. And you
It
don't
would
want
be
him on
fine
your
to
side.
put it on a tablet, too. We want to put it on everything.
Okay.
I want to put it on the, Wonder Swan. Is that a thing?
No, I don't think so.
What is that?
Yeah.
That's a thing, though, right? Somebody's going to...
Anybody
Is that
heard
what
of
it was
Wonder
called?
Swan here?
Wonder Swan color. They made. Yeah, are you looking it up right now? Look it up. I think it's actually a thing.
All right.
Is that what it was called?
I don't think so. I don't know what you're talking about.
Console.
Yeah, it is. It's a handheld console.
All right.
Japan only.
Japan
Right?
only.
Yeah, great.
All right.
Okay, you
All
learned
right.
something today. So did I.
We learned a lot of things today on Up and Noon. Brad, thank you so much. Everybody, get ready for Massive Challenge. You give me a hug. I love you.
Thanks.
I'll totally give you a hug. It's one of those awkward
Seated hugs.
Yeah, I know, right?
I like that.
Your knee was all like doing the business.
Yeah. I'm never watching these pants again. I'll tell you that.
Thank you to Brad, Nick, Brian, and of course you, my audience watching at home. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I love you very much and would like to interact with you. That's why when this goes live each and every Monday, I'll be there the first hour commenting along with you on IGN.com. So come tell me what your favorite Star Trek moment is. Mine, I like the when Kirk figured out that the Oscara, what's her name? What's her name? Uhura was dating Spock. That was a funny moment. I'm a casual fan of Star Trek. I can't be everything to you people. I know the DC comics. I know the Wings, the video games, the Patapon. Anyways, next week, or actually no, not next week, right? Jeez Louise, right? Yeah, we won't be back until 2015, but you bet your bottom dollar until then, I'll be going back to bed.